Good afternoon and welcome to the 2026 Graduate Studies Virtual Expo. Throughout this week, we are hosting a variety of institutions who are highlighting their graduate programs for Seneca students and graduates. My name is Jennifer Kloosterman, and I am one of the Academic Pathways Advisors here in the Academic Pathways office. Our team supports students and grads who are looking to build on their Seneca credential. There are a variety of resources available, and you can connect with Academic Pathways for more details. This session today is with York University and their graduate studies faculty. I'm happy to have my colleague Eileen Watson join us today. So I will pass it over to Eileen for a short presentation, and then we will have a few minutes at the end for questions. So if you have any questions you'd like to ask, feel free to put those into the chat and we will regroup. Thanks.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you everyone for coming today to learn a bit more about graduate studies at York University. So I'm just going to do a brief overview of what we offer, admission requirements, and then happy to answer any questions at the end about a specific program you might be interested in. So just going over a super brief intro to grad studies, and forgive me if you're familiar with the info, I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page. So a master's degree is the next degree level available after you complete your undergraduate or your bachelor's degree. Usually a master's is 1 to 2 years in length. So graduate school goes year round. So a 1-year program is 12 months straight through. A 2-year program would be 24 months straight through. And typically a master's comes in one of 3 formats. So coursework only, major research project, or thesis based. So for a coursework only program, you're entering the master's and you're taking a set number of courses. So usually it's between 8 to 10. And that's not per term, that's total. So 8 to 10 over the entire length of your degree. Once you finish, that's it. You're done. You can graduate. Major research project programs, you would take 6, maybe 7 courses and do a small research project in addition to those courses. And then thesis-based masters, you would do only 4 courses total through the duration of the degree, plus a large research project. So that's the master's level. We then have the PhD or doctoral level. PhD and doctoral are interchangeable terms. Usually full-time a PhD is 4 or 5 years, but ultimately it depends on how long your research takes. For almost every PhD at York, you need a master's in terms of for admission requirements, except for mechanical engineering, which does allow you to go right to a PhD if you have a mechanical engineering undergrad with an A average. But for the format of the PhD, by and large, it's the same across disciplines. You enter the program, you take courses in your first, maybe second year, you write your qualifying or your comprehensive exam, and then it's years and years of research. So in terms of what we look for an application, basically we're looking at kind of 5 categories of or 5 sections for an application. I'm going to focus on masters today, but if you do have PhD questions, certainly we can address those. To enter a master's program at York, you need to have an honors undergraduate degree. So that is a 4-year degree. And we look at your grades within the last 2 years, full-time or equivalent, on your transcript at the time that you apply. Most master's programs require a B+ or above. So on a 100-point scale, it's 77 out of 100. And on a 3-point scale, it is 3.3 out of 4. Or on a 4-point scale, it's 3.3 out of 4. When I say that we use the last 2 years, if someone is applying, let's say in the middle of their final year, we would use probably fall of their 4th year, all of their 3rd year, second semester, 2nd year. Basically, if your degree is, and this is a fake number, but let's say it takes you 40 credits to earn your degree, we would then look at the GPA from your last 20 credits. If it takes 20 credits to graduate, we're looking at your last 10. For example, York undergrad, an honors degree is 120 credits, so we're looking at the last 60. But yes, B+ or above, admissions are competitive though. So there's always more applications than there are spots in the program. And there's some super competitive programs, namely social work and psychology, where realistically you're going to need a pretty high GPA for admission, so A or above. Grades are the foundation of an application, but we also look at your resume. So what have you done outside of the classroom in terms of work, volunteer, and research experience? We look at letters of reference. So some programs require 2, others require 3. References can be academic, so someone who's taught you or supervised your research, or they could be professional, someone who has supervised you at a work or volunteer position. Statement of interest, a very standard requirement, is basically like an academic cover letter where you're talking about why you want to pursue a program, faculty you want to work with on a research project if it's a research program, what you're wanting to do after you graduate, courses you're wanting to take, that kind of thing. For most applicants, these are the main things we're going to look at: your grades, your resume, your references, your statement. There are some programs with niche requirements like a portfolio for an art or design program, employment letters for nursing, a standardized test for translation. So unique across the board, but basically every applicant's going to submit those 4 things. Grades is the base, everything else cherries on top. In terms of what graduate school at York costs, most MA, MSc, regular master's programs, tuition is $5,200 per year. If you are an international student, most masters are about $20,000 a year, and an international PhD is just under $19,000 a year. So there are a handful of programs that charge tuition above this, but for the most part, tuition comparatively is quite low. We have the lowest graduate tuition in Ontario out of any university. And a hallmark of graduate education is that funding is available. So funding is basically money given to you by the university to help pay for the cost of a grad program. If you are a domestic student, so Canadian citizen or permanent resident, the standard domestic master's funding package is $10,000 a year. Your tuition comes out of that, and the remainder is yours to spend as you wish. For a domestic PhD student, the standard package right now is $27,000. So same thing, you pay your tuition out of that, the remainder is yours. For international master's students, the standard funding package is $24,500. It's much more because after you pay your international tuition, the take home is about the same as a domestic master's package. And then an international PhD package is around $39,000 a year. For funding packages, if your program of interest offers one, you're automatically considered for it. So nothing extra, it's just you apply to the program, you're automatically considered. If you receive one, the details are in your offer letter. So it would say, hopefully, congratulations, you've got a spot in this program. Here's how much money you would receive to come study with us. Then at the graduate level, I won't go too into the details, but there's also scholarships you can get on top of funding package dollars. So there's 3 main kinds of awards: current student awards, government, and external. And you would apply for these at different times, but essentially the lowest is 500, but the most is like 50,000. So they're competitive, they're prestigious, but there is a lot of financial support out there for graduate students, particularly if you're in a research program. So if you're doing that major research project or thesis or any PhD, those are research-based. And so virtually all of the government and external awards are to support research that students are doing. We do also have a bursary program, so it certainly wouldn't cover like a tuition at all, but it's up to $1,000 a year. If you demonstrate financial need, you would need to apply for that. And then all of our graduate degrees are eligible for OSAP, so the Ontario Student Assistance Plan. You may be familiar right now. You would just have to apply for it, and it's based on your income, your assets, your dependents, whether you are a dependent, all that jazz. So it's run by the Government of Ontario. We just simply confirm your enrollment. For the application timeline, most graduate programs only have September entry every year at York. So applications start almost a full year in advance. So they open in October for the next December, or next September, sorry. So September 2027, most programs is the next available session. Applications will open October 2026. The deadlines, the bulk of deadlines will be between December and March. There are a handful of programs with like an April, a late deadline, but for the most part, December to March. So for some programs, you've got a really short 6 to 8 week window to apply every year, and those programs don't take late applications. Decisions will come out at some point between February and June. Every program is different. July and August is an opportunity to connect with your program, come on a tour, choose your courses, program orientations, and then school starts in September. So year over year, that's the same. There's a handful of programs that do January and May entry, but only like 3 or 4, and they're mostly science and engineering. But yeah, that's a brief overview of grad studies at York. We do have all of the following social media channels. In particular, I would advise having a look at the York U FGS YouTube channel. There's a lot of how-to videos about graduate admissions, like how to reach out to a supervisor, who can be a reference specifically, how to write a writing sample, or how to pick my writing sample. Yeah, so lots of how-to videos available there. But I will leave up the screen that contains the graduate admissions contact info. So it is fgsapply@yorku.ca, and happy to put that in the chat as well. I'll just keep that up on the screen, but any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Eileen. That was super informative. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, you can get those into the chat and we can go through them together. I'll just give everyone a minute or two to get that organized. We are also a pretty small group today. So if anyone would prefer to unmute, just raise your hand and I will unmute your mic, and then you can ask your question that way as well.
Are there programs that require testing alongside the application? For the most part, no. The only program right now that has any kind of entrance exams is the MA in translation. So that's a really niche specialized program. For standardized tests, psychology, the MA submitting GRE, graduate record examination scores, are optional. A lot of people choose not to do them. If someone is an international applicant to computer science, it's recommended. But other than that, no, there's no entrance exams, exit exam, well, other than like defending your thesis, but do you offer bridging from RPN to RN? That I don't know, because that's at the undergraduate level, but if you email nursing@yorku.ca, they can tell you. Do you know if we have to have the high school requirements, or can we apply straight from college? So to apply for a master's, you need that 4-year degree. So if you have that from Seneca, you can. There are no high school requirements for master's degrees admissions. If you are applying as a transfer student, though, like you're in a diploma or an advanced diploma, and you want to apply to an undergraduate or a bachelor's degree at York, you do still have to get those high school prerequisites if they exist. A really common one is people wanting to go into the Bachelor of Commerce at York. And for that, you need to have, what is it? The MHF4U, which is Advanced Functions. Even if you have a 2-year college diploma, you still need that 12U high school credit to qualify.
Yes. Yes. Unless you're in one of our pathways with York for business. We'll just give it another minute to see if any further questions come through regarding masters.
I will also put this link in. It's a one-on-one booking, an online appointment. So they're 20 minutes. Right now, there's some for March and April. I haven't put in the summer ones yet, but if anyone was interested in grad studies and you're like, I don't have any questions right now, you're welcome to book on there. And the link won't, like, it's going to be the same link going through 2026. I did a bachelor's and then a diploma. Would the grades be based off the bachelor degree grades only? Yes. Yeah, so we only consider undergraduate or graduate credit grades for grad admission. So no diplomas or certificates. Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
You too, thank you.
Okay, so I think that might be all of the questions unless one is coming through. In the meantime, our information for the Academic Pathways Office is also into the chat. So if you do have any questions about the diploma to degree pathways, you can get in touch with us and we can go through those with you and answer any questions about those requirements. And then lots of good resources there from Eileen to connect directly with York for grad. Okay, so I think that's it for the questions. Thanks everyone for joining us today, and thank you so much, Eileen, for taking the time to be with us.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Hope everyone has a great day. Take care.